Feel it, process it, release it. Welcome to Manifest 360. Today, we're talking about something that affects each and every one of our lives. It's our emotions. Many of us are taught to suppress our emotions, ignore them, or power through them. Others were taught that emotions drive every decision. Neither approach creates a healthy lifestyle. The goal isn't to ever feel anger, sadness, fear, frustration, or disappointment. The goal is to allow those emotions to move through us without allowing them to define us. I'm Bob. That's Vipin. This is Manifest 360, and welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. We're talking about emotional management. It's something that's really important, and I think we should, like you said. I think you said feel it, process it, and then
release it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you used an interesting word there, feel. And people often get feelings and emotions confused. Would you say that, Bob? Feelings.
Yeah. Yes. 150%, Vipin. 150%. I feel like we get that wrong all the time.
Right. So what is emotions versus feelings? And then emotions are the energy, and emotions are us encapsulating our feelings into energy. And so we have a negative connotations around emotions, right? Hey, don't be too emotional. You're being too emotional. And so we kind of have and on the feeling side, we think, I'm feeling this way. We're more accepting, more nurturing around feelings. When I say I'm feeling a certain way, people tend to get more drawn in and saying, okay, I hear you. I want to help you feel better or feel sad or angry or whatever you're going through. Let me understand what's going on. But when you're being emotional, people kind of shut down, right? They're like, hey, I'm not big into reacting. I want to react in a rational way. So one of the reasons I talk about emotional and emotional flow is because we'll have a range of emotions throughout the day. We'll feel excited, we'll feel sad, we'll feel angry at times. Go ahead, you were going to say something?
Well, I was going to say, you hit the nail on the head because we have a lot of them throughout the day. They're temporary. There's something that happens like this. The emotional response is like this, whereas the feelings are something you're going to feel for the entire day, but the emotion, bam.
Yeah. They're temporary. It's like a river. Right. That's when I first mentioned this to you. I said emotional flow. Emotions flow through. It's our energy. It's
water.
It's like water. It's like a river going through. Right. And so it's like a river of emotions that are going through your body, that are going through your mind, that are going through your soul, whatever you want to call it. And what they do is they help us identify our feelings once we start to process it. Why am I reacting this way? What's going on for me? What triggered me on this situation? It triggered me in a happy way, I got excited about something, or triggered me in a negative way where I got angry, depressed, or sad about something. So feelings are really underneath emotions, and feelings matter a lot more because, like you said earlier, you can process them. You can process your emotions, but they're happening so fast, you almost got to let them flow without externally giving them more energy. So in emotions, for me, I want to be able to control my emotions, and we talk a lot about it through mantras, calm, centered, and loving.
Kind, centered, loving.
Yep, calm, centered, and loving, right? So you can't always do that. Sometimes you have to just pause when you're going through a situation. You're just shocked about something happening to you in your life. You're just like, okay, this is crazy. I don't know what to make of sense of this right now. So feel the emotion, feel the energy, react to it in a way that you want to react to it is really the right answer. Sometimes we don't want to react in an anger way. We want to react in a way to saying, they're telling you something. Emotions are our body's way of saying something is incongruent with what's going on. Incongruent means something is not aligned. Something is off balance. And without putting any negative on it, something's not crazy, something is not bad, something is not happy. It's just a way of us to be neutral about it. They're telling you a message, and the message is often much deeper. It usually comes down to our subconscious beliefs about something. It could be something around oftentimes things impact us in an emotional way that kind of attacked our self-esteem or our self-worth. And we get really charged up in situations when we feel hurt. But we don't often recognize the word hurt. We recognize the word anger. And we recognize the word anger, depression, sadness. But hurt is the big thing. It's like your ego gets hurt by something. and then you react. But it's really not the ego that's driving it. It's a deep down innate value that you associated to this thing that you're going through. So for a real life example, for me, it would be somebody says something in my work meeting and said, this thing is wrong. Why didn't you guys know about this earlier? Now, first reaction is, okay, let me understand this. Why didn't we know about this earlier? But the big thing you immediately feel is you failed because you didn't know about the situation ahead of time. You failed because you thought that the situation was perfect, but it's not. And so you drop the ball in something. So then you feel bad about it. And then there's two ways to react to it. One is you could process and saying, let me dig into it a little deeper. Let me understand the situation. Why didn't we know about it? Let's dig into it. Is it just me or is it somebody else? Or we could get defensive. Well, we couldn't have known. How could we know? It's technology. It breaks all the time. And so in the world of unknowns, in the world of things out of our control, we think we have to have all the answers, and we don't often have the answers. So instead of getting defensive, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so hearing you say that is me. Unfortunately, I am that person, Vipin. I somebody says you did this wrong, and I'm like, I get angry immediately. It's like, oh, and then I think about it. I'm like, well, yeah, I probably didn't know that, but and I wonder if that just rolls back to childhood or the way that we were raised, or you know what I mean?
Because it could range based on so. Deep down inside, you can look at the psychoanalysis theory of Freud and say it goes to childhood or goes to your sexual beliefs or craziness or whatever, or Carl Jung's philosophy of emotions. But what's really happening is if you were, let's say you worked out in the morning and you ate a healthy breakfast and you go in a calm-centered way, what sometimes may throw you off may not throw you off at that moment because you're in a balanced state of being. So one of the ways to be in a balanced approach is living a balanced life. So if you're less likely to react when you've had a good night of sleep, less likely to eat less when you have a good night's sleep, less likely to have weird emotional reactions when you've had more sleep than adequate amount of sleep. So sleep is one thing, right? How do you control your emotions? Well, you get rest. The second thing is you move your body. You nurture your body with the right sorts of foods. If you're feeling gross, which is what I feel when I have a big slice of pizza and this amazing meat lovers pizza that I had this week from Big Mario's in Seattle, I felt great for the first couple of bites, first slice, and then I'm on my second and third big slice, and I'm like, okay, this is not good. So,
and then by the time I finish the whole pie, I'm stuffed and I got to take a nap.
Exactly. And so, in those moments, it's hard to control your emotions. For me, one thing I notice is that when I'm sick or I've got a sinus headache, I'm quick to react when I'm off balance in that way. So best way to control your emotions is to just pause and get into that feeling question. What is this telling me right now? How am I feeling at the moment? Am I feeling hurt? Am I feeling sadness? Am I feeling inadequate? Am I feeling offensive because I knew something was wrong and I wish I'd have known better? The way to manage your emotions is to feel them, not give them power. It's to give them a feeling saying, hey, maybe I just need to pause for a moment. I need to process it. Sometimes processing can take, there are people that I know that they don't react for a couple of days for an email. They're like, hey, this thing is not worth my time at the moment. I'm going to put it on pause for a couple of days. Or I'll do that purposely. I'm like, I don't have the answer. I'm not going to respond. I'm going to wait when the right timing comes to answer that email.
Are you so you're not a reactionary person? You will sit and think about it?
Oh my God, am I a reactionary person?
See, I am too. And so if somebody says, it's like I snap, I say something, and then I'm like, oh, then I got to backpedal. And I wish that I was able to take that extra beat and not just go full bore on something.
So we've talked about this before.
Uh-huh.
Aren't you less likely to go full bore on things in the last 6 months than you were in the previous 6 months?
Yes. And I think that calm, centered, and loving has helped me out personally, as I hope it's helped out our listeners. But there's still times that I have like,
well, you're not going to be perfect, right? So
right.
That's exactly it. I'm a very reactionary person, especially when I'm off balance. So I do things for self-care, I practice my self-esteem by doing things that are good for me. It's when our self-esteem is hurt, that's when the ego gets in, that's when we react. Self-esteem is based on things that we do, exercise, work, self-care stuff, right? Then there's self-worth, which we talked about a month ago, right? Self-worth equals external worth. Your self-worth is based on how you feel about yourself, how you truly love compassionately about yourself. Has nothing to do with the reaction, has nothing to do with an external validation. It's just all about you internally. And self-respect is how you react. So if you look at the word self-respect in your way and how you're being, you're less likely to react. You're less likely to be emotional and saying, okay, I respect myself enough to not react in this way. So when I said a couple of minutes ago, damn, I'm reactionary, I have been working on this for 20 years. That's why on this book idea, Money and Mantras, Aligning Your Energy for Purpose and Prosperity, is aligning your energy. It's all about the inner wealth. It's all about emotional wealth. It's all about spiritual wealth. It's all about inner wealth so that you can control yourself, so you can do the right thing that you want to do. Right thing is the thing that gives you energy, things that gives you purpose, things that gives you the life that you want to have, fulfillment. So to do that, you got to manage your emotions. That's the biggest energy output, emotional.
Right.
So
one of the things that I've learned since we've started talking is that everything is all combined. You know, you got the chakras, and you got the mantras, and you've got all of the stuff that we're talking about. I had no idea that a butterfly hits a flower, and then pretty soon, I had no idea that all of this stuff is somehow combined and somehow makes up how my day is going to be and how my life is going to be until we started talking about it. I think maybe in the back of my head I may have thought about it, but talking with you about it and having a weekly conversation about this stuff and then seeing the practice come to life within my own life,
yeah,
it's so crazy to see how each and every one of these things, Vipin, is a constant flow. I mean, it's a flow. It's like the water that you talked about earlier. It's the whole. It's everything. Everything has a purpose, and everything has a meaning, and everything has a way that puts us through to our lives that we have to this moment.
It's interconnected, and this is the whole grand plan that most of us don't realize, that we're all interconnected. Where did you get that, by the way? That's a beautiful, beautiful picture of the chakras and designs. Where did you get that?
I Googled it once when we were talking about it because I wanted to make sure that I had a list, so that way when you're talking about the different mantra or about the different chakras, that I would know where they were. And I found it and printed it out, and I have it sitting in front of me when we talk.
It sounded like you printed it out on a thicker paper, not to talk about the format.
Yeah, and on a card stock, so that way I can keep it.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. So one of the things that I'm writing right now, so as I mentioned, the book proposal went out, the publishing deal got done on Money and Mantras, and I wrote the book 2 years ago. I have to rewrite it again, with more around, not around energy and not around the chakras. We've talked about them for the last 2 years, but more around money and wealth, because money is such a energizing, it's such a root of a lot of our problems, and
it's polarizing too.
It's polarizing to talk about the word money. Yeah. It's a paradox. And the mantras, you're like, okay, I get it. Everybody gets what a mantra is, then you immediately feel peace about it. But money's polarizing. Money is an uncomfortable subject. So in talking about money in this piece, I want to help myself, first and foremost, become who I want to be, become daily acting the way I want to be. So I know that I have to control my energy. I meditated for an hour and 10 minutes yesterday, which was one of the longer ones in the week that I've had. I've had kind of a rough week managing my time, so I was meditating a little less, from 25 to 40 minutes on a daily average. But really getting into the zone and connecting with the higher source, the universe consciousness, and get very deep on it. But the way we do that is when we are calm, centered, and loving in a meditative state. When we align our energy with the universe, everything is calm, everything is love, everything is peace. And then we start to think about, in a clear mindset, when we're grounded, what is it that we want? But we can't go to our desire. So I'm actually in that root chakra again, talking about that one and writing about that one in detail. It's about stability. It's about security. It's about feeling safe, which is not my favorite state of being. I'd rather be out there creating and innovating and desiring and going after money. But you need to start out with the base. That's why I always repeat that mantra every morning, number of times at the gym. I'm calm, centered, and loving. I start out with that base. You need to feel safe. You need to feel stable. And then from there, you can go on to the next chakra, which is the one on desire and creativity and wanting something better for yourself, which is around manifesting what you desire. But go ahead.
Well, you said that that you don't like to feel safe. So I don't explain that.
Yeah. So my natural state is not one of safety.
Okay.
My natural state is of taking risk, of creativity. It is one of innovation. I tend to not necessarily, this is a big conflict in my psyche, in my belief system. I feel that I have to have a base of safety, but I tend to go after what I want in an intuitive way. I tend to make decisions based on things that I want. I want to make decisions around creativity and like startups that I have, the focus on book, creativity at work, solving problems, all of that stuff, right? I want to focus on bigger and better things. I often don't realize, and this is what I'm working on, is having a safe, comfortable, stable environment for myself. And then from there, I can build upon it. It's like a house with no foundation. You can build all sorts of stuff, but it'll come crumbling down, right? So I'm building a solid foundation of stability. And the stability that I'm talking about is not just financial. I'm talking about emotional stability. I'm talking about spiritual stability. I'm talking about physical stability of health. We talked a couple of weeks ago about my health and how I had to get on some meds and things like that. And so it's all about balance, but building a foundation of things that you need to do. And so building a foundation around my physical health was really important. So I, like before our podcast every single day, every single time we meet on Sunday, I work out, right? It's kind of why I'm rushing to get here. And the gym opens at 7. Sometimes I wake up a little later, like I woke up a little later today, but I still got here by 8:30. So I had to cut and adjust but I still worked out for 35 minutes. So the goal is always to provide a balanced approach to yourself, whatever it is that self wants. So having a foundation, we all need to understand that foundation-based safe level for our emotions and our feelings to be understood by us. When I say calm, centered, and loving, I'm not saying toxic positivity of saying always feel loving and positive. You can't do that. You got to let the emotional emotions flow through your body and recognize, and like you said it perfectly. Feel the emotions, process them, sit with them. Don't just run away from them. You could have grief, you could have hurt, you could have sorrow, you could have excitement. Maybe you're too excited. I tend to get too excited about something.
Yeah, me too.
I'll have a interesting meeting with someone. I had an investor meeting the other day, and I got really excited about a month ago. Now, it's taken me a month to kind of process it and slowly go down this path. I had that meeting with an investor again this week, and it was very enlightening. It was very exciting, but it was more work that I had to create as part of the process. So I'm like, okay, everything is happening its own divine time. I had a situation where I had to break up with a business partner who I got excited about. I was telling about the venture fund thing that I got really excited about. And that threw me for a loop because I got so excited about it so fast and then it didn't work out. But I had to make the decision. But the lesson in that was the track that woman suggested was a good track, but she wasn't the right player for that track.
Right. And you brought up a good point there, too, because sometimes letting go is the biggest release of your whole everything. I had a client back in the day, back when I first did websites, and she was a drain on my life. I used to get migraines and blah, 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 and felt crappy all the time. And somebody said, fire her, get rid of her. And I fired her as a client, and my life felt a hell of a lot better. Exactly. As it sounds like that's what happened with you, too. I mean, just letting go sometimes is huge.
It did. And it slowed me down a lot. And letting go of that was interesting. And it was emotionally tiring because it's something that I wanted. I wanted this venture fund. I wanted to make this work. I wanted to be able to be part of that. That's an innate dream of mine forever. I had to put that dream on the shelf for the next whatever time frame. And so for me, it was hurtful to see this person not live up to my expectation and become an energy suck rather than providing energy. Every single time I was talking about how sensitive she was and how insecure she was, and all of this stuff was sucking energy right out of me. And so I had to stop that, right? And I had to just tell her, you're too sensitive. You're not humble enough. You think you know all the answers. And it's just, all of these things are coming out that are affecting me. And so it's doing it in an honorable, authentic way. Letting go. I read an amazing prayer on letting go, and I saved it as gold on letting go is what I called it. It's a long prayer. I'll send it to you individually. I'm not going to talk about it here, but it basically says that God closes doors sometimes because of what information we don't have yet. And he's protecting us from our future drama, our future pain, our future suffering. And what we think is a door that's what we want to go through could be really detrimental to our health, our psyche, our financial situation, whatever, what you truly want. So if you believe in this God concept or the universe concept, which you and I believe in, and the higher source, there are higher sources, there are angel guides that I believe in and all of this stuff that guide us on a daily basis. And in this situation, that woman brought a great lesson to me. I had no idea that I wanted to raise money for my startup. She is the one that came up to me and said, I'd like to put some money in your startup through this venture fund. I took it to the next level. I want to be part of that venture fund. But the lesson was go raise money for your startup, and something that I didn't want to do, something that I think is, again, an energy hog on a company. But if you can raise venture fund for a company, and if I'm able to do that, the company starts to immediately accelerate instead of just bootstrapping it. So bootstrapping it is fine. We're doing it in a bootstrap way, but we have an investor who's bringing in what we thought we wanted was, let's just as an example, of $1 million. And that was higher than I originally thought. I thought I was just going to raise $500,000. So I went for $1 million, and he said, raise more. He's like, raise 1.5 to 5 million. And talking to one of my other investor friends, he said, people with money, lots of money, when they come in your life, they're going to have you think bigger than you ever thought you could think big. So in a way, it was the universe's way of saying, think big. You may not get it, but at least think it. Imagine it.
Well, if you shoot for the moon and you get halfway there, that's better than just throwing an airplane. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So shoot huge.
Exactly. And it's not shooting and going out from my ego and saying, God, I want to raise $5 million for this business, and I think it's worth $100 million right now, whatever. Right? That's not what I was thinking. I was thinking, it's a nice startup. It's a nice way of going down this path. And it's a great way to start and provide services in a social health segment. But the universe said, we think this opportunity is big. We kind of had a feeling that it was big, but investors are thinking this is going to be bigger. So then they wanted us to reposition it. So I went through a range of emotions and processing in the calm-centered way in the last 3-4 weeks. And I got to a place where I am at a place where I did the deck. I sent it out to my investor friends who are friendlies before I sent it to the big investor. And I'm looking for feedback from it. And so I did that on Friday. I did some financials. I got this pro forma, which is this long 5-year plan of running profits and losses and salaries and office space and all this stuff that I have to do. So I have the right tools that came to me through friends, the universe, whatever you want to call it. They give you the right level of tools when you need them. But tying it all back together, I had to do a lot of processing, not react and not just feel bad and stop the process, because I was hurt that this relationship with this woman didn't work out from a economic standpoint. The venture fund she was bringing was the idea of getting venture fund, not necessarily doing it with her. And so
you're learning from it.
You learn. It's a lesson. The whole thing of River of Life is it's going to continue. It's all about lessons. It really is all about lessons. And what do you learn? How do you process information? How do you set stability for yourself? And this is why I talk about the inner wealth. Once your inner wealth is set, once you map that out through the chakras and go down that process, then you can go in and build the foundation of the house of stability. Then you can go after desire, and then you work on your purpose, and then you're working through compassion and putting positive energy. Then you start communicating effectively through your throat chakra. And then you go through your intuition, you make the right decisions, then you look at abundance and gratitude. The whole cycle works together. If there's block in one, there'll be a block. You'll be stuck in a particular place. So the idea is going back through the chakras, through the chakra meditation that I talk about. It starts out with I'm calm, centered, and loving. And then there is, things like I've told you before, I attract people, places, and opportunities that serve my purpose and create blah, blah, blah. And so it's all about a balanced approach. But if you can't manage your emotions, you're just going to hurt yourself. You're not going to go through it as fast and as accelerated at the right vibrational level that you need to.
Right. Kind of rolling back to the beginning, the feel it, process it, learn from it, and then release it. That's kind of what we should do with our emotions.
Release it. And then when you process it, and this is what we just talked about for the last 5 minutes is what's the lesson? You're not just processing it from a chat GPT or a Vipin GPT perspective. You process it, you take time, meditate, you go for a nature walk, you go through your day, you get your sleep on it. Sleep on it, right? That's one of the best things that people tell you is sleep on it. Let it tell you what's really going on. Don't rush. Work fast, but don't rush. It's one of those paradoxes again, money and mantras, speed and haste. Don't do things hastily, but do things as fast as you can, but don't rush it. So act on the things that you want to act on today, but don't rush it. It's one of those paradoxes that it's really hard to be able to say. You know, there's that serenity prayer, right? We've talked about it before. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change.
Yep.
You get serenity from that, right? That's the base level. And then courage to change the things I can. Courage, change the things that you can, but don't do it in a rushing way. And the wisdom to know the difference. Like, what should I accept? And what should I use courage for to change what I can? And oftentimes, this all comes back to us, right? Comes back to us, our inner peace, our stability, our inner wealth. And once we work in that approach in the nice way, we look at it, we feel it, process it, get the lesson out of it, and we release it. Once the lesson is there, then only then can you let go. You can't let go unless you understand the lesson.
It's true. So what do you have for final thoughts for us?
That was really it, Bob. I think for me, emotions are not a bad thing. Emotions are energy. They're telling us something is off balance. Could be positive, off balance, so you get really excited about something, or it can be negative. And it can be something that you can manage to a level where it's not affecting you throughout the day, throughout the week. But feel it, sit with it, and look at the lesson. Always ask yourself, what is the lesson in this? And it's kind of sad, but in life, we're going to get patterns of situations over and over again until we learn that lesson. And to get that lesson is how we move, how we get the benefit of what we just learned. And it's through experience. You experience the emotion. You don't hide from it. You don't run away from it. You got to experience it. You can't get this stuff through a book. You can only get this stuff through feeling it, through working through it with the life, having friends to talk through with it. That's really the only way of doing it. Once you do it in the right way, in a calm, centered, loving way, you can get to focus on what you want to attract.
And that wraps up this episode of Manifest 360. If today's conversation sparks something in you, don't just think about it, apply it. Alignment isn't a vibe, it's a practice. Belief, emotion, strategy, and action, all moving in the same direction, that's where momentum lives. Be sure to follow, share with someone building something meaningful, and join us next week as we continue helping you manifest wealth and purpose. Manifest 360 is a podcastforhire.com production.